Ethiopia registers remarkable macroeconomic achievements. And the United Nations Office for Project Services lauds Ethiopia's unfettered humanitarian assistance to Tigray. Good morning, you're watching Addis News Hour. I'm Zawatu Desaling with the news. Thank you for joining us, and do stay tuned. The 2021/22 macroeconomic performance meeting kicked off the previous day. Speaking on the occasion, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said Ethiopia is registering remarkable macroeconomic achievements during the concluded fiscal year.
This meeting has two objectives. First, this year we have registered remarkable economic achievements during this fiscal year. It's necessary to celebrate this economic achievement together. Secondly, we have planned an elastic economic plan to the coming year. This is critical to recognize this year's performance to implement the new economic plan.
The institutions have been identified to evaluate the macroeconomic performance report seriously.
We are identified some institutions to evaluate macro reports. These institutions will continue to present macro reports to responsible stakeholders. If it is necessary, we can meet and discuss on macroeconomic reports within 6 or 12 months. That is the reason we are opening this meeting today.
Ethiopia's Minister of Defense reaffirmed the nation's commitment to scale up efforts to ensure peace and stability in the world and the Horn region. The minister, Dr. Abraham Belay, made the remark during the China-Africa Ministerial Peace and Security Forum organized by China. The minister indicated that now it is the time to work in cooperation with peace forces to find remedy to security problems staring the globe in the face. He explained that Ethiopia, the beacon of an ancient civilization, is working hard to solve African problems in a Pan-African spirit. Belay expressed his respect and admiration for the role being played by China to ensure peace and stability across the globe by following an inclusive and balanced approach. Over 50 ministers and representatives of the African Union participated in the second China-Africa Ministerial Peace and Security Forum, which was held under the theme Strengthen Solidarity and Coordination to Ensure Common Security. The United Nations Office for Project Services lauded Ethiopia's resolve to reach out to the people of Tigray by ensuring unfettered humanitarian aid. Talking to ETV here the previous day, the United Nations Office for Project Services Sub-Regional Director Worknesh Makonnen disclosed that Ethiopia's government $300 million pacts are not only reconstruct Tigray, but also to rehabilitate other areas affected by the conflict. Binyam Alamayo presents Goshen Meliso's file. Take a look.
The Ethiopian government has time and again expressed resolve to find a peaceful remedy to the war in Tigray. It thus declared unilateral ceasefire on 2 occasions while expressing the need to talk with the leadership of the TPLF unconditionally. The World Bank and the federal government of Ethiopia have signed an agreement worth $300 million to reconstruct the state of Tigray. Talking to ETV English, Sub-Regional Director for the United Nations Office for Project Services, Worknesh Makonnen, made it clear that the deal adequately addresses reconstruction efforts in war-torn Tigray.
First of all, the $300 million that has been signed between the government of Ethiopia and the World Bank covers 5 war-affected regions in Ethiopia, including the Tigray region. So it's very important to clarify that it covers the Amhara, Afar, Oromia, Benishangul Gumuz, and the Tigray region. So the $300 million is going to be for these 5 regions. That clarity is very important. And the second one, and this out of this $300 million, UNOPS is going to be a third-party implementing partner only in Tigray region. The rest of the regions are going to implement it themselves directly. And it's very important to understand why a third-party implementing arrangement is opted for is because of the current problem between the central and the regional government.
During the past 6 months, Ethiopia and international partners have delivered medicines and medical supplies worth a total of 71 million birr to Tigray state, according to the Ministry of Health. The sub-regional director lauded Ethiopia's efforts to ensure unfettered humanitarian aid to Tigray.
I think there is a huge development and progress in terms of reaching out, including to places like Wag Humra, and then a recent assessment in Humera area, including those places that have not been accessible so far. So overall, I think it's a very, very promising and really encouraging progress when it comes to humanitarian response across all the areas that are in need, not only war-affected areas, but also including the drought-affected areas. At the moment that I think it's a very, very commendable.
The Ethiopian government launched a military operation against the TPLF rebel group in November 2020 in response to the TPLF's brutal assault on a federal army base. The 16-month-long war has claimed the lives of tens of thousands of people and displaced millions. The UNOPS representative told ETV that they are undertaking preparations to launch reconstruction activities in 5 selected districts.
It's not even a month since we signed this project agreement, but we have already, the UN is already on the ground, so we have multiple UN agencies that are currently working on the ground. We have already established our office and we have our team. We're currently deciding on this 5 selection of the warriors, and the coming few months we'll be starting on the rehabilitation reconstruction work.
The UNOPS focuses on restoration of basic social services, and other UN agencies are working in rehabilitating gender-based violence.
An Ethiopian delegation led by Labor and Skills Minister Muferiat Kamil discussed with Israeli Deputy Foreign Minister Idan Rol in Tel Aviv on ways of cementing ties between the two countries in job creation and innovation. The delegation is composed of some tech starters drawn from several parts of Ethiopia, while leaders of public institutions, private sectors, and academicians from the Israeli side briefed the delegation. The starters had an opportunity to share experience from Israeli entrepreneurs who engaged in various businesses. Ethiopia's Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces, Field Marshal Burhanu Jula, has sent a congratulatory message in connection with the 95th anniversary of the establishment of the Chinese Defense Forces. In his message, the Chief of Staff expressed his appreciation for the rude role played by the Chinese Defense Forces in safeguarding the country's sovereignty, peace, and interests, as well as ensuring stability to the world. Field Marshal Jula noted that China and Ethiopia are countries that have a long history of historical friendship. The Chief of Staff further pointed out that the two friendly countries have attained a high level of cooperation in military diplomacy, adding efforts are underway to take their cooperation to a higher level. The ambassador of New Zealand to Ethiopia, Michael Upton, says his country is desirous to exert more efforts in strengthening its bilateral relation to Ethiopia in various sectors. The ambassador, Michael Upton, recalled that New Zealand was on Ethiopia's side in 1936 at the League of Nations, when Ethiopia complained about the fascist move of Italian invasion. Daniel Kassan has more on that.
Talking to ETV, the ambassador of New Zealand to Ethiopia, Michael Afton, recalled that New Zealand was on Ethiopia's side in 1936 at the League of Nations when Ethiopia complained about the fascist Italian invasion.
Around 1936, New Zealand supported the Ethiopia in the League of Nations, and we stood against the lifting of sanctions against Italy when they had invaded Ethiopia. So the connections go back a long way. In New Zealand, we have a strong, vibrant Ethiopian diaspora. They're helping to build that social bridge between our countries.
The ambassador also says his country is desirous to exert more efforts in strengthening its bilateral relation to Ethiopia in various sectors.
We have a warm relation with the government and the people of Ethiopia. We want to continue to build that relationship, and I think of things during my time, but also we think of katakitanga, which means stewardship, and we think in terms of 10 years, 20 years and 30 years.
He also indicated feasible plans are in the pipeline to spearhead bilateral relations of the two countries with a planned short and long-term documents.
It's early days yet. 1 year is a short time. As well as being accredited to Ethiopia and the African Union, I also have 7 other accreditations. So we in New Zealand we talk about number 8 wire. We have to be creative and ingenious and stretch our resources. I think for here, my time in Ethiopia, I'm very pleased with the connections I've been able to make, both with the government, but also in the business. Civil society, and also I guess in the business sector as well.
The ambassador has also wished peace and security for Ethiopia in the times to come to ensure its aspired plan of prosperity.
The Russian Federation claimed commitment to cementing ties with Ethiopia aimed at addressing security disregards. Russian ambassador to Ethiopia Evgeny Terakhin announced that his country valued its age-long relations with Ethiopia and would exert utmost efforts to the bilateral ties with regards to trade and economy. Kasan Jani reports.
The Russian Federation is committed to further bolstering ties with Ethiopia through unwaveringly supporting efforts aimed at addressing regional and global security challenges.
Well, there is no secret that relations between our two countries are of mutual respect and partnership nature, based on traditions of friendship and mutual assistance. Our countries and peoples have been linked for dozens of years, and we intend to strengthen these links even furthermore. Recently, we have been actively conducting a dialogue at the political level. We are striving to develop our close cooperation in economic, humanitarian, and other fields.
The ambassador further underscored that his country valued its traditional relations with Ethiopia and Ethiopians, underscoring the government of the Russian Federation would exert utmost efforts to the bilateral ties with regard to trade and economy heedfully.
We are also making every effort to increase cooperation in trade and economic areas, an important tool of which is the Russian-Ethiopian Intergovernmental Commission on Economic, Scientific and Technical Cooperation and Trade. A virtual meeting of its co-chairs was held this spring, and we hope to hold a meeting in person during the coming fall in Addis Ababa. Our bilateral relations have great potential, and we are making every effort to realize it fully.
Russian ambassador to Ethiopia merely noted that Russia-Africa summit held in Sochi in 2019 has graciously allowed them to carefully outline modern formats and key areas for constructive interstate interaction. It was also noted that Russian President Vladimir Putin expressed his heartfelt greetings on the occasion of Africa Day, which has become the symbol of victory of the peoples of the country, peace and prosperity.
The Ethiopian Public Health Institute and the Chinese Center for Disease Control and Prevention virtually signed a memorandum of understanding with the aim of enhancing and strengthening their mutual support and collaboration in their disease control and prevention system. Speaking on the occasion, the newly appointed Director General of the Chinese CDC, Professor Shen Hongbing, reaffirmed the Chinese CDC's commitment to provide with all the necessary assistance and to enhance and strengthen its cooperation with the Ethiopian Public Health Institute. Similarly, the Ethiopian Public Health Institute Director General Masai Hailu, on his part, expressed his happiness and thanked all the parties who contributed to the success of the partnership between the two institutions and noted that he and the Ethiopian Public Health Institute will stay committed to see this partnership come to fruition.